Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to your Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video, and I'll be reading from an article on activistpost.com titled, Historic Midwest Blizzard Has Farmers Expecting Massive Crop Losses as Devastating as We've Ever Seen. And this is all judgment from Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai on this wicked kingdom, Babylon the Great, the United States of America, which was also known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8. The Most High is visiting you Edomites, or so-called white people, you spiritual Egyptians, for touching the apple of his eye, the true children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and only expect things to get worse from here on out. These crop losses are going to lead to an upcoming famine. There are going to be pestilences in this country. There are going to be race wars, civil wars, a state of martial law, and to cap it all off, 200 million nuclear missiles, as well as the laser beams from the chariot of the Most High, which people ignorantly refer to as so-called UFOs, is going to hit this place and turn it into a desolate wasteland from sea to shining sea. But before we get into this article, I'm going to go to 2 Esdras chapter 15, start at verse 9. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, the Israelites, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them, first and foremost the elect, the 144,000, and rest of the righteous 1/3, who have come back to their heritage and are doing whatever they can to get back into the good graces of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, so they can have that protective hedge around them during Jacob's trouble and get beamed up on that chariot before the missiles hit. Verse 10, Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, the spiritual Egypt, the United States of America, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. And this blizzard is one of these plagues that the Most High is smiting this spiritual Egypt with. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. These people are going to be mourning once these famines in this country really increase, among the pestilences, the race wars, the civil wars, martial law, you name it. They that till the ground shall mourn. These U.S. farmers who are definitely mourning right now. Not only is this blizzard going to further destroy their crops, but during the summer, you had all those record-breaking floods that destroyed their lands, which kept them back from planting as much as they wanted to, as well as killed 1 million heads of cattle. You've got the U.S.-China trade war going on, which is really hurting these farmers. You've got a record number of farmers filing for bankruptcy because they can no longer afford to operate their farms, which in turn is leading to a lot of these farmers committing suicide. The list goes on and on. It's looking pretty bleak for these tillers of the ground, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail. These blizzards, snowstorms, flooding, bomb cyclone, and with a fearful constellation, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, and woe indeed. You better pray you're an Israelite of that elect number and have that protective hedge of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai over you during Jacob's trouble, because you're not going to make it any other way. And with this blizzard destroying crops and that flooding during the summer, that's only going to bring about this coming food shortage, this famine. And we got a little taste of that earlier because some Walmarts had to put up signs telling their customers that they didn't have a lot of food products due to the flooding. I'm going to jump down to verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, famine, and for great tribulation. This is Isaiah 29 verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm, that flooding, as well as this blizzard, which is a snowstorm, and tempest, and the flames of devouring fire, that final cherry on top, those nuclear missiles. An unprecedented October blizzard that hit just before harvest time has absolutely devastated farms all across the U.S. heartland. As you will see below, one state lawmaker in North Dakota is saying that the crop losses will be as devastating as we've ever seen. This is the exact scenario that I've been warning about for months, and now it has materialized. Due to endless rain and horrific flooding early in the year, many farmers in the middle of the country faced very serious delays in getting their crops planted, so we really needed good weather at the end of the season so that the crops could mature and be harvested in time, and that did not happen. Instead, the historic blizzard that we just witnessed dumped up to 2 feet of snow from Colorado to Minnesota. In fact, one city in North Dakota actually got 30 inches of snow. In the end, this is going to go down as one of the worst crop disasters that the Midwest has ever seen, and ultimately this crisis is going to affect us all. There shall be great tribulation because of that lack of bread. According to the USDA, only 15% of all U.S. corn and only 14% of all U.S. soybeans had been harvested as of October 6th. Only 58% of U.S. corn was mature as of October 6th, and just 15% was harvested according to the latest data from U.S. Department of Agriculture. North Dakota's crop was furthest behind, with just 22% of corn mature and none harvested as of Sunday, while South Dakota's corn was 36% mature with 2% harvested. U.S. soybeans were only 14% harvested as of Sunday, 20 percentage points behind the average pace, USDA data showed. North Dakota and Minnesota beans were just 8% gathered, while Iowa's and South Dakota's crop was only 5% harvested. So that means that the vast majority of our corn and the vast majority of our soybeans were exposed to this giant storm, and the losses are going to be off the charts. I want you to consider the next quote very carefully. According to North Dakota state lawmaker John Nelson, we should expect massive crop losses as devastating as we've ever seen. The early season snowstorm showed no mercy to some farmers and ranchers, especially in North Dakota. I'm expecting massive crop losses as devastating as we've ever seen, said John Nelson, a state lawmaker who farms several hundred acres near Rugby in north central North Dakota. Unharvested wheat in the region probably will be a total loss, he told the Associated Press, Salakia. Please let that last sentence sink in. Yes, a total loss really does mean a total loss. Millions upon millions of acres of wheat and soybeans that were about to be harvested are now completely gone. In some parts of the state, the snow drifts are as high as 5 feet, and this is going to leave many farmers without a crop to sell. Snowdrifts in Jamestown area rose as high as 5 feet, said Ryan Wanzik, who farms land south and west of the city. In his fields, corn and soybean crops sit unharvested after near historic rainfall late this summer. It's a situation farmers across the state are facing, and without a crop to sell, Wanzik is worried many of them will run into cash flow problems. You've already got that record number of farmers filing for bankruptcy. If all this sounds bad to you, then you should go back and read the first part of this article again. This isn't just bad. We are talking about complete and utter devastation that will have ripple effects for years to come. Of course, corn and soybeans are not the only crops that have been affected. According to one expert, things are looking pretty bleak for the region's potatoes as well. With more than half of North Dakota's potatoes still in the field, the outlook for harvesting a good quality crop after the latest round of rain and snowfall is poor. It's pretty bleak, said Ted Kries, Northern Potato Growers Association Marketing and Communications Director. As of Sunday, October 6th, 45% of North Dakota's potato crop had been harvested, National Agricultural Statistics Service North Dakota said. Last year, 73% of the state's potato fields had been harvested by that day, the Statistics Service said. On average, 69% of the North Dakota crop is harvested as of October 6th. In case you are wondering, yes, this is going to affect you very much. a man shall spoil his neighbor because of lack of bread. Just think about what you eat on a daily basis. How many of those items contain corn, soy, or potatoes? If you are anything like most Americans, at least one of these ingredients can be found in most of the packaged foods that you consume. Needless to say, food prices are going to go up. If you are wealthy and you don't need to worry about food prices, then good for you. But if you are like most of the country and your finances are already tight, this is going to hurt. I very much encourage you to stock up and get prepared because we are facing a major shift. This was already going to be one of the worst years ever for Midwest farmers, and now this storm has put an exclamation mark on an absolutely horrific growing season. Nobody is sure exactly what is coming next, but since we all have to eat, the truth is that every man, woman, and child in America should be deeply concerned about what just happened, and through these scriptures we know what's coming next: nothing good. Close it out in Matthew 24 verse 7. And these are indicators to let you know that you're living in the last days, though we're living in the last seconds of these last days. Very shortly, Yahushua HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is about to return to save the elect of his people and his people only. Again, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and put an end to the rulership of the heathens, chiefly Esau, Edom. For nation shall rise against nation, these coming race wars, and you can just feel the racial tension out here amongst these different nations in the United States of America, this spiritual Egypt. These Edomites, or so-called white people, are about to come down in great wrath on you hard-headed jakes. And kingdom against kingdom, the U.S.-China trade war, the U.S. against Russia, the state of Israel against Iran, Saudi Arabia against Iran, and there shall be famines, which we can see are coming from that information we read in that article, and pestilences, these diseases which are going to kill off hundreds of thousands of people, whether they be man-made or natural occurring. And we've already had a few examples of these pestilences happening. That flesh-eating bacteria off the southern and eastern coast of the U.S., Ebola, the African swine flu, you name it, and earthquakes in diverse places. Earthquakes are happening damn near every day. So as Joachim can see, we're living in some very crucial times. So now's not the time to be getting weak in this faith. You should be fully assured in your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai and have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as you can to make your calling and election sure. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. And as always, I'm going to say Abba Bal, Kwam Yasharala. Till next time, Shalom.